Hey, welcome back to Brewing and Queuing. It's Sunday morning, afternoon. It's right afternoon. Morning for me. I got to sleep in today. It's Father's Day, and I am going to be whipping up a small batch, a 2.5 gallon batch of all grain India Pale Ale, American style India Pale Ale. I call this classic American IPA. Um, like the craft IPAs of the mid late 90s. Um, I have 80% Raw and Sons 2 row pale malt. I have 13.3% light Munich, 10 Lovibond light Munich as part of the base malt, and 6.7 or so percent of caramel 40. This beer will be bittered with Chinook and Amarillo, right around 50 IBUs from two bittering shots, and then it'll be the flavor and aroma hops will be Cascade and Amarillo, which are two of my favorites for IPA. Um, I have this recipe under my Beersmith Cloud. My name on Cloud is Nordeast Brewer, all one word, Nordeast Brewer, all one word. The recipe is listed under Classic American IPA, and it's a shared recipe if anyone's interested. If you don't have Beersmith and you would like the recipe, I can easily put it in a file and email it to you. So just send me a message. You can send me a message here on YouTube, or you can go to homebrewtalk.com, and I'm Nordeast Brewer 77. Again, all one word, same spelling, 77 at the end. Either way, hit me up if you want the recipe. So I am going to finish my wonderful, wonderful cup of Starbucks coffee and call my father and wish him happy Father's Day, and get some water heating, get some grains milled. I'll be back. So I'm doing this batch in my kitchen on my stovetop. One of the reasons I wanted to post this video is to show pretty much how easy it is to brew all grain with no extra equipment. Paint strainer bags, that's it. Those are cheap. Helps to have a grain mill. Again, not necessary. Your homebrew store will do that. Today, since this is a small batch, I will be using my 5-gallon thin-walled stainless steel kettle as my mash tun and my boil kettle. This is a single infusion with what we call a dunk sparge, meaning I'll just dunk the bag of grains into my sparge water, let it sit for a minute, strain it out, combine in the kettle, and go. Right now I'm heating my sparge or my strike water. The only thermometers I use at this stage, floating dairy thermometer, typical, couple bucks, $5 at the homebrew store. I like the ones with the removable rubber at the top. It makes it a lot nicer when you're pulling it out of a hot mash or boil. But this is what I use. I just leave it in the mash. I'm only in the 76 degrees right now, so I've got some time. I'm going to go get my grains ready, get my mill ready, and I'll be back to mill the grains and mash the grains, brew in a bag style. So, sorry for the funny angle, but I want to share my my high-tech grain milling process here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this bucket behind me with a paint strainer bag, a 5-gallon paint strainer bag from Home Depot. 2 packs are like $3-4. That's it, right there. And then I have my malt mill, my drill already attached and ready to go. My wife will help me. I just have a 1.5, 2-pound hopper here, so grinding 7.5 or so pounds of grain. So we'll have to pour slow and mill, which is always fun. I need a bigger hopper. You ready? Okay, so without putting you through the 5-minute painstaking process of watching me vibrate while I crack my grains, have a bucket, about half full of nicely milled grain. Let me see if I can show you that. I don't know how good that image is, but decent crush, and now some grains on the computer. For brewing a bag, I go for 0.42 is the setting on my mill. Real fine crush, lots of flour, but the grains aren't, the husks aren't cracked. They're just split open. Get all that good starch out of there for the mash. So I'm guessing my strike water is about there. Gonna go in and check on that and get to mashing. Make the house smell like grape nuts. Okay, so my strike water is at the proper temp, 168 for this batch, and I'm about ready to dough in, which is pretty easy with brewing a bag. Let me get off the heat and get my sack of grains. And really, I just throw it in. I am doughing in with just under 3 gallons of Glenwood spring water. And get my bag in there and break the dough balls. I don't know if you can see it, I have a small pot of water here heating up just in case I lose too much temp. I also, off camera, have some cool spring water just in case I'm too warm. It's not an exact science, and I am not a professional, so I often have to adjust. With 7.5 pounds of grain and 3 gallons of water, I have just under a gallon of headspace left in my ton. So if I need to adjust, I'm good. I'll just end up with a thinner mash and have to sparge with less. So dough balls are gone, thermometer back in, and lid on. Take it easy, bud. I will check this in a couple minutes, make sure I'm at 150. 150 is my desired saccharification rest temperature. 150 for 75 minutes. I'll adjust if need be. I'll start my mash timer when I hit temperature. It's usually within a couple minutes of where we're at now. Then I'll just cover this bad boy up and let it sit. It usually works pretty well. I get pretty good efficiency doing brew in a bag. I've hit 80, generally in the low to mid 70s. It really depends on the grains in the grist. Let's check the temp. Now I am right at 150. I just use this classy heavy duty bath towel and I cover my mash tun. Really, that's about it. I didn't need cool or warm water to adjust it. I may throughout the mash. I check it about every 15 minutes. So I'll get back to you when I'm sparging. That's another easy part of this. And then we'll get on to boiling some beer. Hey, so I'm back. I got my mash temps under control. They were a little high when I checked again. So got that under control, and I wanted to take this opportunity to briefly talk about the yeast I'm using today. Very common, Old Faithful, Zap Ale US 05. 2.5 gallon batch at 1.074. So I need this one packet. I rehydrate dry yeast. I'm not going to make arguments to say that you need to. I ferment most of my beers in glass carboys. It's just a lot easier to pour liquid into the neck of a carboy than try to sprinkle dry in there. So when I was heating my strike water, I took my package of yeast out of the fridge and just have it sitting here at room temperature. Once I'm confident that it's at room temperature, I will rehydrate it in about a cup of spring water. And that's about it. I don't proof it. I don't put any sugar in there. I've never had a problem with dry yeast. Dry yeast has always been good to me. And unless I need yeast flavors, aromas for the style, I go with dry. 05 for American beers, 04 for English beers. I use liquid more with English beers because I like a couple liquid strains that aren't available dry. But for American beers, it's 05 unless I'm trying to do something different. Um, so I just wanted to get touch base with yeast and what I'm using on this beer in case I forget to mention it later. So I will get back when it is time to sparge.